roots were not quite so good. Here's my journey. I went and started importing audio equipment from England and Japan. It was sketch at best. I was a kid who was 21 years old, making a lot of money. I'm starting to feel something under the table. It's this guy's wife. I get out of the loony bin. It was demonic.
If they can just learn this.
I knew nothing about success. He said, in 7 years, you'll be in the ministry. And then they proceeded to throw me out. You work so hard to be successful, but you end up being a mentor.
Each financial decision is not in a silo by itself. It has to be looked at and how it relates to something else in your plan. And most people are not looking at the big picture.
We are here today with Rob Thompson. Rob Thompson has an amazing journey in his career, from working for a company to going out on his own, to starting his own church, to starting his podcast, which I've been a guest on. When I did some background checks on you and I looked at you, I saw you have done over 7,000 talks around the world, published over 25 books, focused on helping people really become better at who they are. And I want to welcome you today. This is going to be a fabulous conversation about money, but more importantly, about your journey over the last 35, 40 years and how you have come to where you are. And I think from a listener perspective, there's so many lessons in your journey that I want everybody to really listen to this, because you're going to hear things that you probably haven't heard before about how you actually surround yourself with people to take you to the next level, to become a better version, and also to push away from the things that you've built to let them really, really grow. Welcome.
John, you just said it all, and thank you. Thanks for allowing me to be on your program. I what a privilege it is.
Thanks for being on it.
Hey, I'm so privileged to be able to do it. And thank you. I think you've probably made the journey a bit more glamorous. I think that whenever we talk about our journeys, they're more glamorous than they are.
Yeah, because you're really in the weeds every single day.
All the sweat and all the other stuff.
The stuff that didn't work.
Right. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. And it's really those things, the things that didn't work, that actually make us the kind of individuals that we are.
I think it's the lessons of, I had something today happen in my office where people were supposed to do something and they did something that was not the right outcome. And the lessons that were learned it was an untrainable thing that couldn't be trained. And now everybody's learned so much. It's like the firm is a better firm.
Well, you may never need to speak about that again.
Yeah, which I'm not going to.
Because interestingly enough, it's almost better to allow people to really stew in their mistake than it is for you to face off with it.
Yeah.
Because business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, they all have this difficult responsibility, and that is to be able to not only be successful in business, but to cause everyone else inside the business to be successful just as well.
Yeah.
Because how in the world could you be the kind of effective leader, or especially in the financial arena, how could you ever be that kind of a leader and then have people coming to the office and
interacting with your staff
every day that will never become what you've become?
Yeah. But they're doing something fabulous that I could never spend 40 hours a week on.
Oh,
and
for
be
sure.
Sane, and be sane.
Well, we actually, it's an interesting term about building your life. But what we do is we end up building our lives to actually staff ourselves. I'll say it like that. Yeah. Staff ourselves to our own weaknesses.
Correct.
So all we do is we almost kind of like years ago when they used to put out patches for your computer programs. You know, they patched this program, patched this program. And so we end up living that patched up life until we can get to the place to where we kind of figure that we were in many ways trying to make people who had no intention of succeeding in life. We wanted to open that door for them to say, there's a better life for you, for your kids, and for your legacy, that if you want it.
If you want it. And I think that's so important.
And what comes to my mind about that was when I was back in that brick and mortar life that I lived. While I was there, I saw the importance of success and of prosperity.
Smallwood Wealth Management is the lead sponsor of this podcast. You have an opportunity to have a free, no obligation conversation with one of our qualified advisors. Go to smallwoodwealth.com, schedule a call, or call us at 800-797-1000 and get on our calendars.
I could not fathom becoming prosperous without giving those that were near me the opportunity to prosper just as well.
Go a little deeper into that because
I guess I say that really because people affect you. They affect who you are. They affect whether you're happy, sad, open, closed, excited, or feel abused. We find these individuals, and so we take people on a journey.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, and they take us on a journey.
This is absolutely. Well, you work so hard to be successful, but you end up being a mentor. You end up being an individual who guides. I don't want to use the term coach, but that's really in many ways what you become.
Yeah.
Is that in time, the more successful you become, the more people are on your team because they want to succeed just as well.
Yeah. And they're coming to you because they want to be successful and they feel like they have an opportunity that they may not have had, which kind of goes back into your journey. And I want to go back because you worked for UPS back in the day.
I did.
And UPS is a great career path.
It was a great company. I'll mention this one thing about that prosperity, and then I want to go back into that.
Yeah.
Would that be okay?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. If I was going to be successful, I was already in my early 40s before any of this thought ever hit me.
In your early 40s?
Oh, yeah. The thing about it was, John, I was always under the impression that people were going to be willing to care for me if I cared for them.
Yeah, 100%.
And sadly, in the industry that I was in, it ended up not being true. I had to restore many men's retirement accounts because the organizations they were with actually fired them. But when they fired them, they also took back their retirement accounts.
How is that even possible?
It's just
investing.
It's a problem. Because it was a promise by the organization. So many of them, what they do is that they have an internal trust that defaults. Kind of because as a trust that a company owns, they don't ever really have to make good on that. They just have to promise you
that
that they're going to make, that it's going to be
a
there.
lot of those promises are even they don't have any funding that backs
Well,
them
yeah,
up
they're
or
unfunded.
yeah.
They're unfunded. Look at what happened all the way back since the turn of the century.
Yeah.
I mean, when was it? Enron and those individuals like that. I mean, it was just tough. So what I did was, I thought, if I could help people, even with what I was doing,
Right.
I was interested in being able to help people, because I think that one of the most miserable lives that we can live is for us to become successful, but the people around us never do.
Yeah. You see that so frequently, that very few people are getting successful, and the people in the organization that are building and helping grow in their own unique capability they're not sharing. They're not getting the benefit of the wisdom. They're not learning the lessons. They're not saving the right amount of money. They don't have control.
We have to remember that every argument we have with anyone is we're arguing with the first 7 years of their life. We're arguing with their childhood.
Right.
Because it's in their childhood that they find this security thing. It's in their childhood that they find the fear. It's in the childhood where they find the trust or the lack of the same. They find it all there. So what I did was, I had 50 some employees, but what I did was I created a trust fund. And inside that trust, I made an agreement with everyone that worked for me. I said, I care about your families. I know that, without much help, what's going to happen to all of you when you begin to get older?
You can't work,
and you can't work. And so I didn't have in my business, it did not have the nature inside of it where what you did was you could easily allow or to walk away from someone and just say, well, hey, they just decided to make a career change, or I just decided to let that person go, because I was always more concerned about their family.
Right.
Then I was even more concerned, sadly, than they were. What I said was, I said, here's what I'll do for you. If you believe in your family so much that you care about their future and what's going to happen to them, I said, whatever you desire to save for your future, I'll match it.
In this
100%.
In this trust.
Oh yeah, I'll match it in the trust. I didn't care.
And how did you? Was it a conversation with each of the employees? What are you saving? And
Yes.
then verification of it, and then you would match
yeah.
it.
So what do you do? Well, I gave them. I didn't dig there.
Okay.
Because that reveals too much of a person's personal life to me.
Yeah, and you're not. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
your,
and I'm not there.
It's not your role.
I'm not there. But when a person actually would deduct a particular amount out of their salary
Into the retirement plan.
into the retirement plan, I'm not the monitor of it, but I would know that it happened.
Correct.
I had 2 or 3 individuals that walked away with $500,000, $750,000, and inside that, just working for me for 5-6 years.
Oh wow, that's pretty significant money.
Well, it
5-6
really
years.
is, because remember, it was doubled.
Yeah.
Everything was 100% matching.
Yeah.
So it's not like, we're going to do this and it's going to be 2 times matching if you give today,
I can't tell you how many people that we encounter, even existing clients, where we've been pounding the crap out of them to make decisions, and that's a technical term. They're not maximizing the match that they receive on their retirement plan at work. I mean, highly compensated people not putting enough money to get the full match, and it's free money, and they're destroying their future over a decision that is so short-sighted in the moment. And it's
Yeah.
a very difficult thing. So when people do that, they deserve that.
Yes,
reward.
they're actually a gluten intolerant, but love pizza.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
And gluten-free pizza is not that good.
Yeah, it's
just
really
not that
not.
good.
I mean, it's kind of rough. It's like eating sand.
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't.
Cauliflower
Yeah, it
crust,
just doesn't.
ooh.
Yeah, I mean, Lou Malnati's is great, but you can't eat, you know, the crustless pizza every day.
No.
You know, you just really can't. And so that was what I did. But John, for me, and there are certain things in life that you don't talk about because you don't want people to remember.
Like what?
Anything you don't want someone to remember, you don't talk to them about it.
Correct.
Because what happens is they'll want to know more about it. And so I try to be as transparent as possible. Loving, caring, serving, giving every day of the week. But my roots were not quite so good.
Okay.
And so here's my journey.
Yeah.
We had 4 boys in our house. The greatest memory that I ever have with my parents was my mom and my dad. Us 4 boys were standing in front of them just with underwear on because we didn't have any clothes. So my mom and my dad are talking and us 4 boys are looking up at my parents. And my dad says to my mom, he says, "What do you think we should do? Do you think we should buy beer or we should buy bread?" And my mother said, "Let's buy beer."
Oh, jeez.
And we didn't eat. And
How old are you here? 7?
7, yeah. 6,
Yeah.
7 maximum. And so if I ever went home, now that we're coming up through my teens now.
Yeah.
If I would ever go home and I would open the front door so I could come in and I didn't have to push garbage away from the front door, I knew my mother was drunk.
She would leave the garbage for you to take it out?
Oh, I'll take it out. No. We lived in garbage that was this much on the floor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was a good 6 inches, 7 inches on the floor.
Unbelievable.
And that was how I grew up.
Thinking it was normal.
Oh, yeah. When I would see somebody that would like smell good, I would think, they must be rich.
Just from a smell.
Because only rich people smell good,
They
right?
smell like money.
So I ended up, I thought getting married was my answer. And for a lot of individuals, that is absolutely so true.
It's the way out of the
Yeah,
house.
it was
to-
a way out of
to
it. So I did
escape.
it to get out of the house. I mean, I loved my wife. I didn't have trouble. Linda and I have been married for 50 years. So
It's worked.
I think work is, the word is completely abused because it is absolutely so underdeveloped of what it takes to be successful.
I mean, the journey of your reasons for getting married, right out of the gate, they're constantly, as you progressed along the timeline for 50 years, the reasons have changed. Why?
Oh, gosh.
you were
I mean,
married.
you have to, if you're going to be married, you have to reinvent yourself probably every 3 to 5 years.
Oh, 100%.
And your spouse, they have to as well. And so it's so important for you to stay close to your spouse and really nurture your relationship with her because the kids are leaving.
Yeah.
The kids are gone.
Yep.
I mean, the first moment you're thinking, oh, my kids will be around because, man, I'm going to make them successful. They just want to be, they're going to be around dad. They want to be around, and all of a sudden what it is is that the moment that a girl comes in their life,
Boom.
that it's like, well, you know what she's got, I can't compete with anyway. So I guess I might let that go. But at the same time, I ended up in a mental institution.
We're at this point, as you're
I'm
married,
now 20. I'm now 22.
married.
I was
Kids?
married for a little over a year.
Okay.
And instead of things getting better, they got worse.
Being pulled out of your house into a new environment.
Oh no! Well, you know what? That would be a wholesome person, a wholesome type individual's normal thought pattern concerning that.
Okay.
But that wasn't true at all. I went and started importing audio equipment from England and Japan.
Okay.
Here I was a kid who was 21 years old, making a lot of money.
How'd you get into that? How'd you find that career path? Like, that's a really interesting.
There was an open door somewhere, and I just walked through it.
Walked in, there it was. You're importing,
Yeah,
you're
so
selling.
now globally, but here, most of my job was in the city of Chicago. And so I would have to entertain people from different parts of the world. And it was just an arena that was just, it was sketch at best, but the capital of perversion, the capital city of perversion all at the same time.
Right.
I remember sitting at an Indian restaurant with a couple from Pakistan. He came in and my boss and I were there with them. He came in to purchase a lot of stuff. And so, of course, he got our time for dinner. And all of a sudden, we're sitting there at dinner trying to work out this business deal with this guy. It's now going a little bit casual. And as an Indian, you kind of like sit up to this table. You're really sitting on the floor and you move up to the table. But usually the restaurants have a little bit of a, kind of a little dugout there
that
you
can
can
go
put
down
your
into
feet in for people that can't do the lotus position
For very long.
Yeah. At 10 minutes, they're going, oh gosh, I'm not sure I can stand up again.
Yeah, it takes that's an acquired thing.
Yeah, but I remember I'm starting to feel something under the table. So I move a little bit from under the table, and what it is that it's this guy's wife.
Touching you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so this is just normal type stuff. And so I just said, I got out of that. I'm driving home, and all the subconscious fears,
Just blossomed up.
every one of them went from the back of my mind to the front.
Oh my God.
And usually you can get rid of them in about, 10 minutes or so. You can fight them and they'll just go back in their cage.
Yeah.
But this time it wasn't.
Unbelievable.
They brought their cousins.
Interesting. So now you're spiraling.
I'm spiraling bad. And so I tell my boss, look, I'm done with this. I'm just done with all this craziness.
I quit.
Yeah, I quit. And I remember on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago, where the Magnificent Mile is at.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
I remember walking across at Randolph in Michigan. I was walking across the street and my boss is chasing me as I'm walking across the street. And he said, I need you.
Yeah.
But don't quit. I need you.
You're really good.
And I
Don't
said,
quit.
yeah. And I said, I don't care. He said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going crazy. I said, I'm going without you.
Interesting.
So I knew what was happening. And And there was no way out. I couldn't, a lot of times what happens is, when you're in a race with your car, you see the guys doing the Le Mans and all the other stuff they're doing, and they have to go slow because their tires might be bad. And if they wait a little too long to go into the pits, they've just lost a lot. So
yeah.
I knew that I had to go into the pits.
Interesting.
Now,
And you're young. You're 22.
yeah, I'm 22 years old. I was 22. It was and I had no parental or no authoritative way for anyone to help me.
You basically check in, you check out, and then you check in.
Well, the one question I asked my mother was, because she was a waitress, I just said to my mother, because I would go weeks or not saying anything to my parents, and I would ask her. I said, "Mom," I said, "do you know any psychiatrist?" She was a waitress, so do you know any? She said, "Yeah." She said, "I've got this one guy." She said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing.
Just a friend needs help."
Yeah, I just said, let me have it. And I met him on October the 4th at 11 a.m. By 11:30, I was already admitted to the hospital. He said, "You're in trouble." I said, "I know.
That's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here." He said, "No, you're in trouble." I said, "I know." I said, "I just got to sort this out."
So you check in.
So, no, he checked me in.
Correct.
I wasn't going to go in at all. I thought maybe a couple conversations were going
We'll
to
fix
make
it.
everything better.
Sprinkle
But he
some
said,
magic dust on me.
No, and I
I'm
was
gonna go.
there. Yeah, and I was there for 42 days.
42 days.
Yeah, they only let anyone stay in this particular facility for 5 days.
And you're there for
And I was
42.
there for 42. And during all this time, the crazies they actually made me the president of the loony bin. I was the President Loon. They made me the president. And then finally it came to me one day and they said, "We know who you are. You're a psychiatric student.
Oh, posing.
And you're here to just spy on us." And I said, "Oh, I guess I wish." I said,
I never even thought of that. That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, it's really, it's fine. I said, "I guess I wish." I said, "No." I said, "I'm crazy, just like you.
Just like you.
Just like you." And even to this day, John, I could go crazy in 30 seconds.
But you've learned how to.
Well, you
bring
have to
yourself
learn
back
how to
in.
manage it.
So you're 42 days in.
Yeah?
Your wife, do you have any kids at this point?
No.
So your wife is waiting for you when you leave.
Yeah, I tried to get her to leave.
Just leave you, period.
Yeah, just leave. I said, "Take everything that's there. There's nothing there. We're only married a year."
Right. You had some good compensation from your job because you were doing well.
I was doing okay. And so I said, take it all. I said, and just go. Just go.
And she didn't go.
Well, no, she wouldn't. I would not allow my parents to come and see me
Right.
while I was there because the doctor already told me that was because of them I was there. So I said, "What do I want to do this anymore?" And
Yeah, right.
And so I told her to take everything, and I said, "Just leave, just leave." I said, "I'll be back. Just leave. But right now, I don't want this."
So you come out 42 days later.
Yeah.
You
While I'm in there.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Yeah.
Right near the end of it was about day 35, 36. A guy came and tells me. He said, Jesus could help you if you would let him.
And is this somebody that works there, or is this one of your
Guy
fellow?
just got a job
Just got a job.
as an orderly there.
So yeah,
He,
helping.
he was just a helper. And what they did was, I mean, John, this was kind of, I guess, a little extra of a place.
Yeah.
But, I mean, people were putting straights, straight jackets and straight gurneys and straight wheelchairs, straight jacket wheelchairs. And
Because
all
they're
this
going to be
stuff.
harmful
Well,
to themselves.
I mean, I saw
others.
a person slide out of a straitjacket wheelchair like they just became oil,
just got right out.
just like this, just like a snake.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it got kind of goofy. And what ended up happening about day 35 when I said, look, I believe in God. I said, I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah, because you grew up in a religious background.
Oh no, not at all.
Oh, not at all. Okay.
No, but I always had a respect for God.
Okay. But it was something else.
I would fist fight somebody over GD this and GD that and GD all this. And I'm thinking, man, I would say to the guy, I said, look, I don't care who you are. I said, but tell me, what are you talking about him for?
Yeah, right.
He didn't have anything to do with your stupidity. Give the guy a break. I mean, does it make you feel better to actually say something about somebody who you don't think is here?
Right.
So, just do the finger thing and do the whole deal and all that stuff. And I remember on October the 28th, I got down. So I guess it was 25 days.
Yeah.
And I got down on my knees and I said, look, Jesus, you're either real or you're not.
Yeah. I don't know you at this time.
Yeah. And if you're real, I want to know you. But if you're not, get the frick out of my life.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about you. I don't want to hear about your name. I want to hear about anything about you if you're not true, because I've heard enough stories. I've been lied to enough. I've been taken advantage of enough. I don't need anyone else taking advantage of me.
Mm.
And I remember I went to sleep on October the 28th and woke up. When I woke up the next morning, John, I was a completely brand new man. 100%.
Really?
100%.
So you had an intervention.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while
intervention.
While I was sleeping.
So now you're 20 something days in this 24 or 5 days, and now you're reconstructing for the next 10 to 14 days.
Well, yeah, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tell the doctors
that you
look, guys, they said, look, we don't know what happened to you.
Yeah, you've learned a good story. We're not ready to trust you.
Yeah. People come in here and they do the religious thing. Everybody, when they go crazy, they find God and all that silly stuff. Silly stuff. And so I'm just sitting there. I said, well, I don't think that happened. I mean, I don't think that's why I did that.
You know what happened.
Well, yeah, because the very hole that I had in my chest, that I would buy new things and put into the hole to try to make me feel better, it made the hole bigger.
Correct, because the void became
the
gap of
massive.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm driving a new Corvette. So I go out and I buy a new Corvette. And when I buy this car, as I'm driving this car, I remember it's up on the expressway. I'm driving this car in the northern suburbs of Chicago. And this voice says to me, it says, if you pulled the wheel really hard to the left, all this would be over.
As you're driving.
And I'm going.
In a brand new Corvette.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I want this over. I want this over. I want this over. And this hand, my left hand begins to pull the steering wheel, but my right hand won't let it do it. So I'm fighting with the strength of either one of my arms. And it's like, I'm not even there.
Right. You're now seeing this. You're not actually there.
There were things, John, that happened that people would never believe. And I know they happened because it was me.
Right.
Like if somebody's telling me this, I go, oh, okay, great. But no, I know. I know. And it's so far beyond the human experience and existence.
Of what it doesn't, it's at a higher level.
Yeah, there's nothing that compares. And so here I was.
You're out.
Yeah, now all of a sudden after the doctor says to me, he says, well, we don't know what happened to you. But then all of a sudden, I get this visit from my personal nurse, who just so happened to be Big Mary.
Big Mary.
Big Mary.
I like the name.
Now, Big Mary, when Big Mary came into the room and she wanted to sit on my bed, she backed into it.
She's big.
So she could not do this. So when she backed in, she just backed in.
Oh my God.
At normal height. So, I mean, I don't know how the trailer got hooked up to that, but that was Big Mary. And she said, this stuff that you're talking about, we understand that's just a silly phase that you're going through.
This God thing.
Yeah. And so we just want you to know that we know all the reasons why you're here. We don't have a problem with other people knowing. I said, Big Mary, I don't care if anyone in the world knows.
Yeah.
I don't care anything.
Right.
Honestly, Big Mary, that's great. So then we have, what is it? Group therapy.
Yeah.
You got group therapy, right?
Oh yeah.
So we go into group therapy, and there's always a coordinator, and she's got an assistant there and whatever. And so all the people are just talking, about their silly stuff about what happened to them in kindergarten and all. And the people quit asking the coordinator any questions. People started turning and started asking me the questions.
Right in that meeting.
Right in that meeting, right there. I talked, John, I spoke to no one.
Up until this point.
Yes, nobody.
And now you are the facilitator.
Now I'm there.
Yeah.
Now it's like, and so
you're the appointed facilitator by the group. They're feeling something.
No. By them.
Yeah, by them.
So they would kind of come down to my room and talk to me and stuff to say, oh man, I feel so good, man. I feel so good. I said, hey, that's great, bro. Whatever you want, that's great. So down at the end of the hall, John the Baptist lived down at the end of the hall. Mother Mary lived next door to John the Baptist. So, and they would actually put out statues in the hallway, and they would talk to the statue, and the statue would talk to them. It was demonic.
Yeah.
Really wild.
Oh, really? That's really wild.
Really wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here I am. I get out of the loony bin, and I learned something that they called the tithe.
Right. Okay.
I heard about it.
Yep.
I didn't know what it was.
Define it.
And then so they said the word tithe means a tenth.
Yes.
It means a tenth.
10%.
I go, oh, okay, that's great. I said, what do you mean a tenth? No, that means if you're going to tithe, that you give 10% of
whatever you earn.
Of your gross income. And I thought to myself,
oh my God,
they know. They know my income's gross. They know it already.
Yeah, they back into it because of the 10%.
Well, yeah.
And then they question, are you
so
actually
even
driving
if it was $5 or whatever,
yeah.
I didn't care. I said, look, you know what? Before last week, I was dying. I'm not going to talk to you about 10%. What do you want? I'll give you everything. No. That's not it.
I
But
just want 10.
but what it is that you have to see, and in the Bible, there are benefits
Of tithing.
of tithing. So they showed me those, and I said, that's great. I said, but that's not really important to me. I just want to please God now. That's all I want to do. I said, no, you need to understand. This is an agreement that God has with you, that he promises to rebuke the devourer for you,
Okay.
that he promises that no evil will befall you. He said that he wanted me to tithe so that there would be meat in his house, so that when I did, he would put meat in mine. And I said, where do I sign up?
Where do I sign up?
Where do I sign up? And so people over the years, as years continued to go on, I've been asked to leave very respectable places because of my stance on certain issues.
On tithing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so ultimately, approximately 7 years after this began, the pastor of the church I was
Tithing too.
yeah, right. He said to me, he said, in 7 years, you'll be in the ministry. And then they proceeded to throw me out. But
And that's the moment that you launch into your own ministry, or is it another 7 years? Because he doesn't seem like he might have been too accurate.
This was after kind of month 2 when he said that. But in 7 years, I was asked to teach a Bible study. I said, look, I'll teach the Bible study for you. I said, but I'll never go any further because I don't have the pedigree for all this.
Correct.
This doesn't,
Your training up until this point doesn't dictate what you're doing.
Yeah, right. And so they're sitting there, they're looking at me. And I just said, don't look at me. I told you the truth.
Right.
So here I am. And I said, I'll do it for 3 months. 3 months, because I'm looking for my replacement, right?
Yeah, because you're only here for 3 months.
Yeah. So I'm here 3 months. No replacement. And they're just sitting there and they're looking at me. So I said, okay, I'll do it 3 more months. I said, that's it. I'm done. I don't clean people's diapers.
Right.
Every one of us has to be responsible, has to be accountable.
100%.
I said, because I grew up a liar. I came from a long line of deception.
Yeah, from what you were talking about.
Yeah,
earlier.
it was crazy.
Crazy.
But the thing was that ultimately it came to a place to where I did it for 3 months, and then the church Linda and I were going to at the time, I gave the Bible study to them because they could do something with it.
Right.
I couldn't.
Right.
Well, that was good for about 3 months again. And so as it was good, the guy calls me in his office. He says, who do you think you are? I said, excuse me? He said, who do you think you are? I said, well, sir, I'm no one.
I'm just here.
I'm nobody. I don't, and to this day, I hold on to that. It's not really true in men's perspectives, but
Correct.
But I still hold to that, and it's safe for me. And so, so all of a sudden, he just says, he goes, look, he said, I don't want you around here anymore.
Get out of my church.
Get out of here. And
you're threatening.
And so it was almost
rather than bringing the church up, you're now threatening.
Right now. And I said, that's no problem, sir. I said, I'll do whatever you ask me to do. I said, but remember, you've got all these people that you that you promised to help.
And
He said, I don't.
and you're not helping them.
That's right. And I said, and you know you have that, right? He said, no, you take it. I said, oh, no, 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 no. I said, it's not mine to take.
Interesting.
I gave that to you. It's
And
not mine.
now you're going to give it back to me.
He said, I don't care what you do with it. I don't care if they die. And I said, really?
Interesting.
And so now I'm depressed.
Now you're questioning your faith. You're questioning.
Well, now,
everything.
yeah, I'm questioning the whole thing. And
Yeah.
so now I'm questioning this thing of, now, what am I going to do?
Yeah. And you're working for the big company at this point in time.
Well, now I'm working for UPS.
Yeah, going
Now
to church
I'm
on Sundays, teaching the Bible school.
yeah.
And now you're out
On
on
Friday.
now you lost your church, which was your whole foundation
Yeah.
of how
Yeah.
you became better. And you're being pushed aside, which is testing your faith.
You know, one of the biggest things, even about this subject, that I think is really important, people need to really learn how to separate their relationship with God from their relationship with the church. The church.
That's really interesting.
But because the church is a hospital,
It's a
the
facility.
church is not the church is not a place where you go to meet all the upstanding citizens of the city that you live in. If you want, you can look over and you can say, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago she was a prostitute, and him, he has
embezzled,
trouble. He has trouble with money. He always thinks that other people's money belongs to him. He has that, but it's a hospital where there's improvement. And I had to say this, because people would make a mistake by thinking, well, I'm going to buy into this person that he's with, because that person would not be allowed to get with him if
he wasn't at high
if he
integrity.
wasn't at a high level.
Yeah.
And I had to tell them, I said, look, intimacy or closeness or having someone with you is not a sign of approval, but it's a sign of improvement. You don't necessarily approve of the person that's with you, but you're giving them their opportunity to improve.
Mm.
And then what you do is that you see them whether or not that they really want their life to be better. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, talks about a potter's wheel, about this potter's wheel. And it got to the place to where if a potter could do nothing with a lump of clay, because some of them are just recalcitrant. They just don't want to mold into what you want.
Right.
So he would take it off the wheel and he would throw it onto this little place outside of his
Studio.
outside of his his pottery studio, and he would throw it on this pile. And you even saw this, and you'll remember this, but if you remember where even the Bible talks about how that this was where Judas bought this potter's field with the 30 pieces of silver.
Yeah.
That was what happened to him. He was taken off the wheel. He was brought close to Jesus for his improvement, not for his approval.
Not for his approval.
And so
you leave the church, and is this the
Yeah.
moment where you decide that this is what you have to do? You
I
have to
cried.
do something better?
I cried because I had no one. I had no voice, John.
Yeah, you were
Well-
pushed away from something that was foundationally empowering you to be
I begged that gentleman.
to stay.
I begged him and said, please help me. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, I'm good with everything you said,
Yeah.
but help me. I know nothing about any of this. He said, I'll never help you. So my wife went to his wife, said,
You got help.
could you help me?
Yeah.
What does a pastor's wife need to do? She said, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I mean, what do I do? She said, I won't help you. And so I knew that a decision had to come. And when I worked for UPS, I worked for them for 7 years and a little bit. And we worked through, that was the year that in the winter, it was 83 below with wind chill in Chicago.
Oh my God.
I worked that day. I worked that day.
Because those packages have to be there.
Oh yeah. You can't.
Can't not deliver.
Yeah, and that was one of the only days that they ever said, keep your truck running. Don't shut your truck off. You may gotta get it started.
It'll
again.
never start again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
And so here I was, and I'm in bed because it was just so cold. And at the time, Linda and I had a water bet.
Oh wow!
But that was a
those.
long, you remember those?
Yeah.
That was long time.
They don't make
ago.
those
And
anymore.
so as we, yeah, right. And yeah, what are you going to do with the leaks?
Yeah.
I mean, I never knew what I was going to do if somebody put a hole in this bed. And we had a problem because we had a cat.
Yeah, now it's going to freeze.
And the cat with its claws would actually and we'd find these little water things coming out of the
spraying.
Yeah, and so we had to patch them up. But I was sitting in bed just studying, and I heard this inside myself. I heard this crying inside me. And I thought, well, the only person it could be, is that voice that I heard that night that I prayed to Jesus. And I said, please, I said, Lord, I said, why are you crying? He said, because I have no one to love my people. I said, please don't cry. I'll do it.
And that's the moment.
And at that moment, with no help, I just went.
Started.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurial spirit of going out on your own completely is born.
Oh yeah, and you don't even know what it is when you
have to leave where you are.
Yeah,
it's so bad. Exactly. I have to leave where I am. Where I'm going doesn't really matter.
Sure,
and I'll figure it out.
It's got to be better. It's got to be better than where I was.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And did you have a vision of what you were going to build initially, or was it just simply help a few people?
No, I just wanted to. This Bible study, John and I, it's an interesting story. But with this Bible study, I had over 100 people in a Bible study
from the other organization that needed you.
No, they were followers of me.
Right. Right. They were followers of you, but you had met them at the other organization.
No.
Oh, just simply follow.
No, I actually took what I did, which was go from nothing to 100 people.
Which is incredible.
And I took that and I gave it to the church we were going to, and then he rejected it.
Correct. So now you get it back.
Now I got it.
Now it's back.
Now what am I going to do with it? I say,
you gave it to the wrong people. You now have to take it back.
Yeah. So I had to take it back. So
many people sell their firms and then they realize they gave it to the wrong person and they get it back. And they're like, oh, I don't want it back. But no, you want it back.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately it ended up being a 40-year career.
So you build from nothing, literally nothing, with no vision, simply to help the 100 people.
Yeah.
And then it grows.
Oh, yeah.
Because now you're following your passion.
Yeah.
And you turned it into something that still today has thousands and thousands of people that are constantly one of the biggest churches in Chicago, correct?
Yeah. I mean, at a time it was the largest.
It was the largest.
Anymore, but the point was that I knew that if I could put their hand in God's hand, that they would make it. That was all that I cared about. I knew nothing about success. I knew nothing about money at the time. Listen, I'm in my 20s. And we just work to
driving a Corvette.
we work to consume.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, hey,
Living
I did
life.
well every month. All the money that I got, I spent.
You tithe, then you spent.
Yeah, right. And so, and here's an interesting thing: at the initial church that I was telling you about, the head fellow, one of these guys, and these guys in here will all understand that this head deacon is the head deacon. He looks out in the parking lot and he says, "Whose Corvette is that out there?"
Mine? Can't raise your hand too quickly. Oh no, I'm going to get crucified.
Well,
literally.
I mean,
Ostracized.
It went a little bit too far beyond respect. So I was just kind of like, I just want to be one of the guys. I just want, can I have, I want to be part.
Right. But now you're too successful.
Well, yeah.
In the eyes of the deacon.
Yeah, so I have my Corvette outside. Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he says, Christians don't drive Corvettes. I said, man, that guy, who's ever that guy, he's got to get rid of that car. He needs work.
What do they drive?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe mules or something. I don't know. So anyway, so here I do. I go home and I prayed. I said, Jesus, I didn't know Christians aren't supposed to have Corvettes. Now, all this is a lie.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me. Please forgive me. But
let me pay down the dollar.
Even on top of that even on top of all that, I said, you got to do something. Now, you can see how unredeemed my mind is.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I said, you got to do something. I'm asking you now. I said, because when I ask you something, you do it. I said, so I'm asking you. I'm asking you to sell this car or have someone steal it.
If I'm not supposed to have it.
Yeah, if you don't want me to have it, just have somebody steal it. I mean, I don't
steal
care.
It or sell it.
Yeah, steal it or sell it. I went out the next morning. The car was gone. Gone. I called Linda at her job. I said, "Did you see the Corvette when you went to work this morning?" She goes,
"Did you take it to work?"
No. She said, "No." I said, "It got stolen." She is in the office of the school because she was a school teacher of the school she was at, jumping up and down
for joy,
for joy over the fact that the car got stolen. Because, hey, now we're not that person that isn't pleasing anymore. And I just want your followers to know this. None of this stuff, none of the church stuff is real. It's just people. It's not real. But the God part is the only reality.
It's the only reality.
Yeah.
So in this journey of stepping into this role, you now, as you start on a whim, basically, because you want to help your people, you begin to find yourself in what is success. And you start to define success and help people see how they can be successful in their own eyes and grow themselves to be in control of their futures.
Oh,
and that's why people are following
of to have a greater handle on their destiny, to actually to give them the self-esteem that comes from tasting success.
Correct.
There's a certain level, as you know, of self-esteem that comes to an individual who makes some right choices. They begin to stand up a little more. They begin to dress differently. They begin to look differently. They begin to smell differently.
The smell. They smell like money.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever buy another Corvette?
Oh, cars has always been my thing.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
So
you've had a lot of cars.
Oh gosh. Actually, Linda was telling somebody yesterday. She said, "Oh yeah, he just likes because I just bought another Porsche Turbo S.
Beautiful car.
So yeah, really nice.
One of my favorites.
But they, they're more money than you want to spend, but they are. But she was telling this person, I'm just sitting there, and she said, "Oh, I don't know what he has. I don't know what he drives. Actually, I don't even know how many cars we ever had. They said, well, how many cars did you have? And Linda said, she said, I quit counting at 150.
At 150.
At 150. And I said, baby, you don't never need to wonder. I said, as long as you see a new car in the garage,
things are good.
I said, you're fine because the money's not going to some other woman.
Yeah.
You don't need to be concerned.
Right. That is the woman.
Yeah. You don't need to be concerned. So it was a 40-year thing. But throughout that time, John, it really brought me to the place to where I had a clear understanding of that most people we ever meet in life are failures going from one failure and hopping to another one and hopping to another one.
And that is what you help people truly understand.
And that's my life.
Of how to figure out you're hopping, making the same mistake in a little different disguise.
Yeah, sure.
But ultimately it's the same mistake.
Sure.
And I see
that's what your expectation is anyway. So.
Yeah. So you've created the expectation that I'm going to suck in this one, I'm going to suck in the next one but maybe it's going to work. And there's that shift.
If they act right, it's going to work.
If all these people do their job.
Nothing to do with me.
Correct.
Only has to do with them.
And that's the shift right there.
Yeah.
Is that when you realize that it's you and it's your actions, your guidance, your vision that you're stepping into, that where that success and that the success of what you built came from allowing people to become their best version of themselves around you, because you couldn't grow it by yourself.
No.
You had to grow it with an amazing team.
Well, absolutely. The problem is that in the religious community, teams are very transient.
Right.
So it becomes personality worship, of which I have refused to ever allow that in my presence.
Right, which you see a lot of it.
You know, but it's a lot because most people, they'll just fall for it.
Right.
I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for anything. Jesus said it like this. He said, I'm an unprofitable servant. I've only done that which was asked of me to do.
Okay.
And so I'm doing what was asked of me. And that's really what birthed where I am today.
So in the next time frame here, in the next 10 years, 15 years, this journey that you're now on, what is that? How are you helping people discover this at a different level? Because it is a different level. This new, your new podcast, the Luminary Talks that I was a guest on twice, and I truly appreciate it. And this conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for doing it.
No, but there's that one thing that you always want people to, there's that one thing that if they can just learn this, it would trigger so many other things in their lives. What is that?
Now that there isn't anything that they cannot do if they have the right information to do it.
So if you want to start a business, you want to jump jobs, you have to figure out why you're doing it, in essence, but not necessarily why, because your journey tells us why wasn't important.
You know, what's your why, right?
But there was this, the why didn't matter. There was this internal passion that said, I have these people that need me, and I tried to give it away. I get it back. There's a reason that I got it back. The same reason the Corvette got stolen, right? It freed you to now go do that next level. And the entrepreneurship, a business owner, many of my clients that are business owners, there was something that was stopping them from being the authentic self. That was really being who they are. They're working 80 hours a week. They're getting their
they have no time to develop.
They're stuck, and it's like, okay, I have to go home and be dad now. I have to go home and be mom. I have to go to church. I'm involved in this. And they never have time to fully develop what they are. And I think there's that, 42 days that you spent, you had space.
Wow.
You had space to figure out something, but you didn't really step into it till later. But it's the space of the creativity that people don't take enough time for themselves to fully develop what are the possibilities. And I'm sure you laid, there was dreams, there was nightmares, and there was the combination of both in this compelling vision. As you began to attract more people to what you were doing, there came this momentum and this feeling of,
oh yeah. Yeah. There's something that's called the rewards of momentum. And many times, once a person gets to a particular point, everything becomes just rote and just starts working for them.
and it mushrooms.
Yeah, it mushrooms. So they start looking for something else, because really what it mushroomed into was really not
What they had the
the
vision.
goal. Yeah, the goal was back here.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they take this and they duplicate it over somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so people like us, what we do is we just regulate them to not go from this, from where they are right now, over to something else too quickly.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that they stay in there to be able to get all the juice out of that.
All the rewards
Yeah.
that are coming, all the learnings. And I think this conversation, if I'm going to summarize it and this was not anything that we walked into this conversation thinking that we were going to discuss. I was thinking I was going to dig deep. We dug a heck of a lot deeper than I thought we were ever going to dig, right? But the way I'm distilling this is that it's not about being good in the eyes of other people. It's actually being the best in the eyes of yourself, because you and God have that relationship, and only the two of you actually only are what really matters.
Yeah, and some of those things where there's options and all of those other things that a person would put out on the table, that is a 2024
Instagram, blah blah blah, shiny post.
perk. It's a perk of the social thing that everybody who really has not done anything in their lives actually kind of throws around certain buzzwords and changes the words so that you and I wouldn't be able to understand them.
It's new and
very
unique.
very
Yeah.
readily,
Yeah.
and so we're trying to catch up in that arena. But back at the time that it happened with me, I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, many will fail, and I will not have fulfilled what I'm here to do.
And that is the lesson of the day.
Oh yeah.
This is amazing. I really want to thank you for being on the
you're
show.
welcome.
Like, I want to we've just said everything that we can possibly say, because that was the best line ever.
Well, thank you.
If people want to find you, where do they find you?
Luminary Talks on the different social platforms, and whether it be YouTube, Instagram, those kinds of things, they can follow after me. Let me
Like it, share it, follow
like it, share it,
it.
please.
If there's
do all
one,
those things.
if somebody found one of your books, which book would they read?
The 10 Critical Laws of Relationship would be the book I would help them with. I actually, it's funny, but I actually wrote 37 books.
37.
Yeah, 30,
So the internet lied.
37. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, but I kind of look at the internet like this: who are they associating you with?
Correct.
When they say about you, when they say that, because even for the people that I know that the internet has been tough on, some of my actually better friends, that what happens, those people are not like anything.
That is
Like
yeah.
it's like I've never met more generous people.
Right.
I've never met more giving, more helping individuals in all my life, and the rest of the world wants to rip that up, because that's the key,
It's threatening.
to be able to make life work for someone else. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. This is
Thank you.
awesome.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. This
You're
is
welcome.
this
You're
is
welcome.
incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Cut.